elected to Congress this past election? 126. That's 102 in the House, 24 in the Senate. It's a combination of incumbents and first-time candidates, and it's the most women ever elected in a single election cycle. And to put this historic accomplishment into perspective, we need to understand the rates at which women run for office. According to a recent study done by American University and Loyola Marymount University, women in both parties consider running for office at half the rates that men do. And further along in the process of seriously considering or taking at least one concrete step, that trend continues. This can be attributed to imposter syndrome, not feeling good enough, smart enough, qualified enough, experienced enough to run for office, but also institutional barriers that prevent women from running, like lack of childcare access, having to confront a sexist media, and overcome the social narrative and expectation that women belong in a domestic sphere. Women on average need to be asked 7 times before they run for office. And for all of these barriers, there are many campaign training programs to help women overcome them. Emily's list is probably the most popularly known among us. These programs prepare, endorse, and even fund women candidates at every level of government. And for all of the barriers that discourage women from running for office, those who do absolutely deserve to be lauded and celebrated for taking that plunge. And out of this most recent midterm election, there are several noteworthy women. There were several states across the country who elected their first women. In Congress, Rashida Tlaib and Ilan Omar became the first Muslim women elected to Congress, with Tlaib being the first Palestinian American woman and Omar being the first Somali American, first hijabi, and first Muslim refugee. Most famously, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez became the youngest woman elected to Congress, the first person under 30 at 29 years old. Sharice Davids and Deb Haaland became the first Native American women, with Sharice Davids being the first openly lesbian woman in the United States House of Representatives. Ayanna Pressley became the first black woman to represent Massachusetts in the United States House of Representatives. Abby Finkenauer and Sydney Axne out of Iowa became the first women to represent their state in Congress. And Veronica Escobar and Sylvia Garcia became the first Latino women to represent Texas in Congress. In the U.S. Senate, Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee and Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona became the first women senators to represent their respective states. Kyrsten Sinema being the first openly bisexual person in the U.S. Senate. At the state level, Janet Mills of Maine, Kim Reynolds of Iowa, and Representative Kristi Noem of South Dakota all became the first women elected governor of their states. With the historic number of women running for office and winning, 2018 was labeled the Year of the Woman. And it certainly was a record-breaking year. At the federal level, 476 women ran for office. 256 of them won their primaries, and now 126 of them are headed to Congress. 16 women ran for governor, and 9 of them won, including right here in Oregon with our Governor Kate Brown. And this number is especially noteworthy because in the entire history of our country, only 39 women have ever held that seat, 25 of them being actually elected. The highly anticipated Democratic blue wave was even rebranded in some circles as a pink wave to highlight how many Democratic women were commanding office. But this isn't new. The Year of the Woman first happened in 1992 with a whopping 4 women elected to the U.S. Senate. Patty Murray of Washington, Carol Moseley Braun of Illinois, Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer of California, who made California the first state to be represented by 2 women in the U.S. Senate. in the entire US Senate. That year, the woman was motivated by Anita Hill's testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee in 1991, alleging that then nominee Clarence Thomas had sexually harassed her at their work together in the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And as a bit of a speculative aside, though Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's testimony against then nominee Brett Kavanaugh came late in the 2018 election cycle, we may see a similar impact in 2020 thanks to her bravery. In the recent election, of 126 women in this revived Year of the Woman is incredible. But it must be the last Year of the Woman. In order for a year in an election cycle to earn this title, two things have to happen. One, an unprecedented amount of women need to run for and win office. But two, those women have to be captivating figures who have extraordinary political experience and/or have overcome some sort of intense oppression or deeply personal tragedy. The Year of the Woman reinforces the idea that women participating in democracy at the same rates that men do is an anomaly. While it's supposed to highlight women's accomplishments, it actually is further ostracizing them from a sense of belonging in public office. And the model of what women can successfully run for office is skewed in this narrative. We are deifying, making gods out of experienced women, out of heroic women. And while they do deserve to be celebrated, we're further pushing out the average American woman from feeling like she too can serve her community. And it puts pressure on women candidates that men never have to experience. Take Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example. She ran in New York's 14th congressional district, defeating the fourth-ranking Democrat in the House, Joe Crowley. She's 29 years old, the first person under 30 to be elected to Congress. And a year ago, she was a bartender. She just recently was able to afford her own health insurance. And her long-shot candidacy has been defined by her socioeconomic status and her socialist policy solutions to the widening wealth gap. In this election cycle, was there a male equivalent to her story? What about Kyrsten Sinema? She served 4 terms in the Arizona House, 2 years of those as the assistant minority leader for its Democratic caucus, 1 term in the Arizona State Senate, and 3 terms in the United States House of Representatives before she narrowly won her election to the US Senate. Was the same premium placed on experience for a male candidate? Or Lucy McBath. Her son, Jordan Davis, was murdered in 2012. That tragedy moved her to political action, and she then describes herself as a reluctant activist. Did any male candidate have to continually reveal his personal trauma to be taken seriously as a candidate? The Year of the Woman demands that women be extraordinary candidates with original policy and charismatic rhetoric, but also extraordinary people who have defied impossible odds. In the Year of the Woman, unless a woman has overcome poverty, has a lengthy, pre-established political career, or experienced deeply personal and politicizable tragedy, she can forget about being an appealing candidate. In the Year of the Woman, the average American woman need not run. In 1992, Senator Barbara Mikulski said, "Calling 1992 the Year of the Woman makes it sound like the year of the caribou, or the year of the asparagus. We're not a fad, a fancy, or a year." And she is right. We must stop sensationalizing women running for office. We must give full props to women with average backstories and ordinary life experiences who want to serve their communities. And we must stop calling, anytime women run for office, at the same rates men do, the year of the woman. Because women holding political office is not a fad. It's not a fancy. And it most certainly is not confined to 1 year. And it's about time we treat it that way.